The first time I noticed something strange about my neighbor, it was just past midnight. A faint glow flickered in the upstairs window of the house next door pale. Sickly yellow light, shifting like candle flames caught in an unseen draft. I could have ignored it, passed it off as a late-night reader or an insomniac wandering their room. But the light pulsed, dimming and swelling as if breathing. I had never met the man who lived there. The house had been empty for months, until he moved in, a shadowy figure glimpsed only at odd hours. My other neighbors whispered about him. No one knew his name. No one had seen him in daylight. One night, curiosity got the better of me. I stayed awake, watching his house from my window. The light moved, shifting from one window to another, as if something inside was pacing. Then, at exactly 3:33 a.m., the light went out, plunging the house into absolute darkness. The next morning, something new appeared, a deep red stain on the steps leading to his door. The kind of stain that looked too thick, too dark to be paint. I wanted to knock, to ask if everything was all right, but a sinking feeling in my gut held me back. Days passed, and the occurrences grew stranger. A whispering sound echoed from his home at night. Not voices, but something like the wind carrying secrets too dark to be spoken aloud. Shadows flickered behind the curtains, movements that didn't match human gait. Then there was the smell, faint at first, but then growing stronger. A sickly, rotten scent that lingered in the air even after sunrise. I asked my other neighbors, but they all avoided the topic, brushing it off with nervous laughter. One elderly woman, Mrs. Hargrove, only muttered, "You should stay away. That house, it has never been right." The breaking point came one night when I heard knockings low, deliberate on my bedroom window. My room was on the second floor. My breath froze in my throat. The sound repeated. 3 knocks. A pause. 3 more. My shaking hands gripped the edge of a curtain as I peeled it back, heart hammering in my chest. There was nothing outside. Nothing but darkness. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I convinced myself it had been my imagination. Lack of sleep, paranoia. But then, at exactly 3:33 a.m., I woke to find my bedroom door wide open. I always locked it before bed. The air in the room was freezing, and the scent of decay clung to the walls. Then I heard it. A whisper, too close to my ear. "He sees you." I turned on every light in the house and didn't dare sleep again. My mind raced for explanations. A prank? A home intruder? Or something worse? I decided to confront my neighbor. The fear of not knowing had become unbearable. I knocked on his door the next evening, just after sunset. The air was unnaturally still, the sky too dark for that hour. The door creaked open on its own. Inside, the house was empty. No furniture. No belongings. Just dust and shadows stretching across bare wooden floors. The smell of rot was overpowering. And then I saw them deep scratches on the walls, not made by human hands. They twisted and spiraled like a language I couldn't understand. My breath came in shallow gasps as I stepped further inside. That's when I heard the breathing. Slow. Heavy. Not my own. I turned, but the doorway behind me had disappeared. The only thing left was darkness, swallowing the world inch by inch. Then, a voice. "You shouldn't have come." The lights outside my house flickered and died, and the darkness took me. I woke up to silence. I wasn't in my bedroom. I wasn't in my house. My surroundings were indistinct, swallowed by blackness stretching beyond where my eyes could adjust. I tried to move, but my limbs felt heavy, as if something unseen pressed down on me. Then, a flicker of that sickly yellow light appeared ahead of me. It illuminated nothing, but its presence alone sent a fresh wave of dread through my veins. A shape stood within the light, something tall, impossibly thin, its edges flickering like static on an old television screen. "You saw too much," the voice whispered again, but this time it came from all directions. I opened my mouth to speak, to plead, but my voice was gone. My thoughts raced. Was I dreaming? Hallucinating? Dead? The figure took a step closer. The air around me grew colder. The whispering sound from my neighbor's house, no, not his house, but this place grew louder, overlapping, voices blending into one another like a chorus of the damned. Then, in the periphery of my vision, I saw more shapes. Dozens. Hundreds. Silent. Watching. I had not simply disappeared. I had joined them. Time stretched and twisted. I had no way of knowing how long I had been trapped. The whispering never stopped, a constant murmur of forgotten voices. The shapes in the dark moved, but never came closer. They only watched. The yellow light pulsed, flickering as if it had a heartbeat of its own. I felt something shifting within me, something unraveling. My memories blurred, slipping through my grasp like sand through fingers. I tried to hold on to who I was, but my name felt distant, like an echo of someone else. Then, for the first time since my arrival, something changed. A new sound: footsteps. They weren't mine. They weren't the whispers. They were slow, deliberate, approaching from the void. A new presence entered the dim glow of the yellow light. It was him, the neighbor. His face was indistinct, shifting, never fully forming. His eyes, however, were clear black, bottomless pits that devoured what little light remained. "You were warned," he said, his voice layered, as though 1,000 voices spoke at once. I tried to move, to run, but I was rooted in place. The whispering grew frantic, as if the other shadows were afraid. The air became heavier, crushing, suffocating. Then, he raised his hand. A single touch. Pain. Agony like nothing I had ever known, searing through my soul. My vision blurred, the darkness itself writhing and coiling around me. My form shifted, my thoughts dissolved, and I understood. I was no longer myself. I had become part of the darkness. Another whisper in the void. Another watcher in the night. And beyond the veil of shadow, in the world I once knew, another curious soul stared at the flickering yellow light of the house next door. Waiting.